Every morning, 30 million Americans reach for the same little pill before their feet even touch the floor. Ibuprofen, Advil, Motrin. You know the names. Your medicine cabinet is full of them. What you do not know is that those pills are responsible for over 16,000 deaths every single year in the United States. That is more than heroin overdoses in most states. And the worst part is not the deaths. The worst part is that those pills do not fix anything. They silence the pain signal while your joints keep grinding, keep swelling, keep deteriorating underneath. You are not healing. You are going deaf to your own body screaming for help. 54 million Americans have been diagnosed with arthritis, 1 in 5 adults, and that number is expected to hit 78 million by 2040. This is not a disease of old age. 4% of adults between 18 and 34 already have it. The economic cost is $303 billion a year in medical expenses and lost wages. It is the leading cause of disability in the United States, ahead of heart disease, ahead of diabetes. And the entire medical system's answer is a $75 billion painkiller industry that manages your symptoms while your cartilage disappears. I want to show you what we use in Okinawa instead. It costs less than $1. It grows in the ground. We have been using it since the days of the Ryukyu Kingdom, centuries before your pharmaceutical companies existed. And it does something your painkiller will never do. It actually stops the damage at the source, not the pain signal, the inflammation itself. Let me tell you what is actually happening inside your body every time you swallow an ibuprofen. Your joint is inflamed. The cartilage is breaking down. Your immune system is sending inflammatory molecules to the area, proteins called prostaglandins, because it is trying to repair the damage. The pain you feel is not the disease. The pain is your body's repair crew showing up to work. What ibuprofen does is shut down an enzyme called cyclooxygenase, COX1 and the COX2, which blocks those prostaglandins from being produced. The repair crew gets sent home. The pain fades, and you think the problem is solved. It is not solved. The cartilage is still degrading. The joint is still swelling. The underlying damage is still progressing. You just cannot feel it anymore. And while those prostaglandins are being blocked in your knee, they are also being blocked in your stomach, your kidneys, and your cardiovascular system, where they were doing critical protective work that had nothing to do with your joint pain. The RMS database, the arthritis, rheumatism, and aging medical information system tracked NSAID complications for decades. Their findings: more than 100,000 hospitalizations and over 16,000 deaths per year in the United States are directly attributable to NSAID use. The most common cause of death is gastrointestinal bleeding. These drugs erode the lining of your stomach and small intestine because the same prostaglandins that block in your knee are the ones that protect your gut wall. A study published in Clinical Gastroenterology and Hepatology used videocapsule endoscopy to examine the small intestines of chronic NSAID users and found visible damage and bleeding in the majority of patients. The lead researcher, Dr. David Graham, said the extent of intestinal damage was largely unknown until they could actually look inside. And what they found was severe. But it does not stop at your stomach. NSAIDs impair kidney function. Your kidneys, receive 25% of your cardiac output, and they rely on prostaglandins to regulate the blood flow through the glomeruli, the tiny filtering units inside each kidney. When you block those prostaglandins with ibuprofen, you reduce blood flow to the kidneys. Over time, this can cause acute kidney injury, chronic renal impairment, and in severe cases, kidney failure. Over 30 million Americans have chronic kidney disease, and 90% of them do not know it. If you are one of them and you are taking ibuprofen every day for your knees, you could be destroying your kidneys without a single symptom until it is too late. And then there is your heart. The FDA issued a black box warning, their strongest safety alert, stating that NSAIDs increase the risk of a heart attack and stroke. Patients who took NSAIDs after a first heart attack were more likely to die in the following year than the patients who did not. Heart failure has been directly associated with NSAID use. So let me summarize what this $75 billion industry is selling you. A pill that does not fix your joints, destroys your stomach, damages your kidneys, and increases your risk of dying from a heart attack. And you take it every morning like a vitamin. In Okinawa, we have a root called akshin. You know it as turmeric, but what you buy in the spice aisle at Walmart is not what we grow on our island. Okinawan turmeric has been cultivated in our soil since the era of the Ryukyu Kingdom, hundreds of years before Western medicine discovered anti-inflammatory drugs. Our subtropical climate, our volcanic soil, and centuries of selective cultivation produced a variety with significantly higher concentrations of curcumin and bioactive compounds than standard turmeric grown anywhere else. Our elders did not call it a supplement. They did not put it in a capsule. They put it in their tea every morning, grated it into their food, and drank it after meals. It was not medicine to them, it was just part of eating. The science caught up centuries later. A systematic review and a meta analysis published in the Journal of Medicinal Food in 2016 gathered data from 8 randomized controlled clinical trials on turmeric extracts for joint arthritis. The findings were remarkable. Turmeric provided significant reductions in pain and improved physical function in arthritis patients compared to placebo. But here is the part that should make you put down your ibuprofen bottle. 5 of those 8 trials found no significant difference between turmeric and conventional pain medications. The same relief, the same functional improvement from a root that costs pennies and has been used safely for centuries versus a pharmaceutical that kills 16,000 Americans a year. How does it work? Curcumin, the primary active compound in turmeric, is a natural inhibitor of cyclooxygenase 2, COX2, the exact same enzyme that ibuprofen targets. Published research in arthritis and rheumatism demonstrated that turmeric extracts effectively reduce the joint inflammation through this mechanism and recommended clinical trials for arthritis treatment. But unlike ibuprofen, curcumin does not obliterate COX1, the enzyme that protects your stomach lining, your kidney blood flow, and your cardiovascular system. It targets the inflammation without carpet bombing every other organ in your body. There is one challenge with curcumin that we solved a long time ago without knowing the chemistry behind it. Curcumin on its own has low bioavailability. Your body has difficulty absorbing it. A clinical trial found that when you combine curcumin with piperine, the active compound in black pepper, absorption increases by 2000%. That is not a typo. 2000%. In Okinawa, we have always cooked turmeric with pepper and with fat because our grandmothers knew it worked better that way. They did not know about pipeline. They did not know about bioavailability. They just knew that the combination had been passed down for generations because it worked. But uching doesn't work alone. There is a second root that we use alongside it, and the science behind this combination is even more compelling. Ginger. In Okinawa, we use it as freely as Americans use salt, grated into soups, steeped in tea, mixed into marinades, eaten raw. It is in nearly everything, and its active compounds, gingerols, sugars, and powder, do something that no single pharmaceutical on the market can do. They inhibit four separate inflammatory pathways simultaneously. Let me be specific. Gingerols inhibit COX1. They inhibit COX2. They inhibit NF kappa B, the master switch of inflammatory gene expression that controls dozens of inflammatory proteins at once. And they inhibit 5-lipoxygenase, another enzyme that produces inflammatory molecules called leukotrienes. Four pathways. Ibuprofen covers two. Ginger covers four. And a study published in Frontiers in Pharmacology confirmed what Okinawan cooks have known for centuries. When you combine ginger and turmeric extracts together, the anti-inflammatory effect is synergistic, meaning the combination is more powerful than either root alone. They amplify each other. A clinical trial involving 57 osteoarthritis patients found that ginger extract performed better than conventional treatment in reducing joint pain and swelling. Another randomized controlled trial comparing ginger and turmeric combined with black pepper against naproxen, a prescription strength NSAID, in patients with chronic knee osteoarthritis, found comparable results in reducing prostaglandin levels and inflammation markers. Fresh ginger root at Walmart costs between $1.50 and $3 per pound. A daily therapeutic portion, about 2 inches of fresh root, costs you roughly 15 cents. 15 cents for a compound that covers more inflammatory pathways than your prescription painkiller, with zero gastrointestinal bleeding, zero kidney damage, and zero black box warnings from the FDA. But this is not about two roots. If I told you to just drink turmeric and ginger tea and your joint pain would disappear, I would be lying to you the same way the painkiller industry lies to you, giving you one product and calling it a solution. In Okinawa, joint pain barely exists among our elders because the entire system works together. The roots are just the beginning. The first thing you need to understand is that arthritis is not a joint disease. It is an inflammatory disease that shows up in your joints. The inflammation starts in your blood, in your gut, in the foods you eat every single day. And if you do not address the source, no root and no pill will save you. The standard American diet is loaded with arachidonic acid, an omega 6 fatty acid found in red meat, poultry skin, egg yolks, and processed foods. Your body converts arachidonic acid directly into the same prostaglandins and leukotrienes that cause joint inflammation. Every burger, every fried chicken wing, every processed snack is literally feeding the fire inside your joints. You are eating inflammation for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then taking a pill to suppress the symptoms of what you just ate. The traditional Okinawan diet is the opposite. We eat very little red meat, historically less than 1 ounce per day. Our protein comes from tofu and small amounts of fish. Our staple is the sweet potato, not wheat or corn. We eat seaweed, bitter melon, leafy greens, and fermented soy. This is not a diet designed to fight arthritis. It is a diet that never triggers it in the first place. The inflammation never starts because the fuel for it is never consumed. And then there is movement. Your doctor tells you to rest your joints, to avoid impact, to sit down, take your pills, and wait. In Okinawa, our elders do the opposite. They move constantly. They garden on their knees at 85. They sit on the floor and rise from the floor dozens of times a day, performing full-range squats that keep synovial fluid flowing through the joint capsule, nourishing cartilage that has no blood supply of its own. Cartilage depends entirely on movement to receive nutrients. When you stop moving, your cartilage starves. When you sit in a chair all day and take ibuprofen to mask the stiffness, you are accelerating the very degeneration you are trying to prevent. Our elders walk. They carry things. They squat. They kneel. They reach overhead. Not in the gym for 1 hour. All day, every day, until the very end. And their joints last because they never stopped using them. Here is what the complete system costs you. Turmeric powder at Walmart, 10 cents a day. 1 tablespoon in hot water every morning. Fresh ginger root, 15 cents a day. 2 inches grated into that same cup of tea, or into soup, or into a stir fry. A block of firm tofu, 40 cents a day. Your primary protein source that replaces the arachidonic acid bomb of red meat. A sweet potato, 50 cents. Green tea, 10 cents a bag. Black pepper, the piperine that makes your turmeric 2000% more absorbable, is already in your kitchen. Total, $1.25 a day. $450 a year. Now let me show you what the other side costs. The average American with arthritis spends $2,117 per year in out-of-pocket medical expenses directly attributable to their condition. Add over-the-counter NSAIDs, a bottle of Advil every 2 weeks for chronic users, and that is another $300 to $400 a year. Add the prescription anti-inflammatories when the OTC versions stop working. Add the cortisone injections at $150 to $300 per shot, 3 to 4 times a year. Add the joint replacement surgery that 1 in 5 arthritis patients eventually needs. Average cost $30,000 to $50,000 per knee. And add the cost of treating the side effects of the drugs you took for decades. The gastroenterologist for your bleeding stomach, the nephrologist for your damaged kidneys, the cardiologist for your compromised heart. The painkiller industry does not sell you a cure for $75 billion a year. It sells you a subscription. You pay every month, every year for the rest of your life, and the problem never goes away. It gets worse. And when it gets bad enough, they sell you a surgery. I am offering you a route that costs less than $1 a day, backed by the same clinical evidence with none of the side effects, combined with a way of eating and moving that prevented the problem from existing in the first place. The only reason you have never heard this from your doctor is that no one makes $75 billion a year from ginger tea. Here is exactly what you do. Starting tomorrow morning, the tea comes first. Boil 2 cups of water. Grate 1 inch of fresh ginger root and add 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder. Not the capsules, not the supplements, the actual powder from the spice aisle. Add a generous crack of black pepper. This is not optional. Without the piperine in black pepper, your body absorbs almost none of the curcumin. With it, absorption increases by 2000%. Let it steep for 10 minutes. Strain it. Drink it before breakfast every single day. The second change is what you stop eating. Red meat goes down to once a week or less. Processed foods, anything in a box, a bag, or a wrapper with an ingredient list longer than 3 lines, goes away entirely. These are the primary sources of arachidonic acid in your diet, and arachidonic acid is the raw material your body uses to build the inflammatory molecules that are destroying your joints right now. Every day you eat them, you are adding fuel to the fire and then spending money on pills to put it out. The third change is what you start eating instead. Tofu replaces red meat as your daily protein. A block costs less than $2 and lasts 3 days. Sweet potato replaces white bread and a pasta as your staple carbohydrate. Anti-inflammatory, loaded with beta-carotene and vitamin C, and available at every Walmart in America for under $1 a pound. Fatty fish once or twice a week. Salmon, mackerel, sardines for omega-3 fatty acids that directly compete with arachidonic acid for the same inflammatory pathways. Your body can either make inflammatory prostaglandins from omega 6 or anti inflammatory resolvins from omega 3. You choose which one wins by choosing what you eat. The fourth change is how you move. Get on the floor. Sit on the floor to watch television tonight. Getting down and getting back up is a full range movement that sends synovial fluid through your knee and hip joints, feeding cartilage that cannot feed itself. Do it 10 times today, 20 times tomorrow. Our elders do it 50 times a day without thinking about it because they do not own recliners. Walk for 30 minutes, not on a treadmill, outside. Squat to pick things up instead of bending at the waist. Kneel in a garden if you have one. Use your joints or they will stop working. Rest is not recovery. Rest is decay. The fifth change is what you throw away. Open your medicine cabinet. Look at the bottle of ibuprofen. Read the label, the one with the FDA black box warning about heart attack and stroke that you have never noticed. That bottle is not helping you. It is silencing your body's only way of telling you something is wrong, while the damage continues underneath. I am not your doctor, and I am not telling you to stop any prescribed medication. But I am telling you that everything in that bottle can be replaced by what I just showed you for less money, with more evidence, and without a single organ being destroyed in the process. Everything I shared today, the turmeric protocol, the ginger preparation, the complete anti-inflammatory food system, the shopping list with specific products and brands at Walmart, Costco, and Trader Joe's. I documented in 3 volumes: the Okinawan Blueprint, the Okinawan Kitchen Manual, and the complete Okinawan edition with a 90-day calendar that walks you through every single day of the transition. The link is below this video. But joint pain is only one symptom of what is happening inside your body. The same inflammation that is grinding down your cartilage right now is also doing something to your skin that the $65 billion skincare industry does not want you to understand. Why do Okinawan women at 90 look the way American women spend thousands of dollars trying to look at 50? That is the next video. And what I am going to show you has nothing to do with creams, serums, or retinol.